Alright, this is John Colo with okraw.com and my buddy Oakley here. And today I have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to answer your questions on my OK Raw channel. I don't do this too often, but I want to try to start doing this every month for you guys to answer some of your guys' questions, you know, about health and about other things not related to gardening. Okay. So if you guys want to get your question answered on this episode, check the link down below to my community tab on OK Raw channel, and you can submit your questions there for the next Q&A I have coming up in January at this point. I apologize, I get a lot of different comments and messages over all different social media platforms, and I'm just one of me, and there's a lot of subscribers out there, and so I don't answer any questions that people ask me, so don't feel rejected. Like one guy came up to me at the Thanksgiving potluck, "You never answered my question!" I'm like, I'm sorry, man, like I get so many questions, I just don't answer any questions, so. But I do have a way you guys really have a question you guys need to ask me and you need an answer for. I do have a way you guys could do that for just $5. You could talk to me for 10 minutes. I'll answer any of your guys' questions that you may have for me to the best of my ability. I'll put a link down below to that. That's to the Fiverr campaign I have. And any money that comes in from the Fiverr campaign, I do not take out of the Fiverr community. I put back into the Fiverr community to get my videos transcribed to people that are hearing impaired or in foreign countries can now basically get YouTube to translate the English transcription into foreign languages. So I want to thank you guys who have done the Fiverr in the past. So anyways, yeah, let's get into today's questions without further ado. First question is from Garrett Markle. Oh, I have a major one. Do you have any tips on finding fruits, veggie wholesalers? It's one topic that after 3 years fully raw, I found nearly no advice and haven't made even a little progress. It would be such a massive boon if I could get it sorted and increase my ability to share the love and help others, let alone me, to actually afford what I'm already doing. Thanks, John. You're doing God's work, my man. Much love. All right, Garrett. So, wholesalers. Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, I hadn't found wholesalers until several years into my raw foods journey myself. And then when I did, I really didn't want to go back anywhere else. I have a variety of resources that I use to find wholesalers and also get good deals on food. So number one, I'll say is that there are not wholesalers in every single, city in the country. If you guys live in a big city, you guys might be in luck. But if you guys live out in the sticks, you're probably out of luck. There's no wholesalers near you. So luckily, there are produce terminals, which are in super major large cities. Strategically around the country. I know like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York City. I think I've been to one like in Cleveland, Baltimore. I've been in the one in San Antonio, was pretty cool. Where else? There's like a small one in Miami. I've been to one, Houston. That one sucked, man. They don't really like people going in there and just trying to buy stuff. So that's the first thing, and just Google is your best friend. Google wholesale terminal, produce terminal, and type of city that you live in, right? Okay, that's step number one. Now, if there's not a terminal, that's the best way to buy stuff because there's more than just one wholesaler. There's many different ones that you could buy from. Now, that's the best. The second best is try to find a wholesaler near you. So, how did I do it? Well, back in the day before there was like the internet, right? Pick up a phone book, right? Go to the yellow pages and look up produce wholesalers. They'll be listed in there. If you don't have a phone book anymore, once again, go to Google. Produce wholesalers, Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And you should find some, right? And then one by one, call each produce wholesaler. And, I wouldn't say that, hey, I'm a raw foodist and I want to buy things by the case. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I wouldn't necessarily want to not tell the truth either. I would say something like, I would call them up and say, hello, I'm considering, it's not that you are, but I'm considering starting a juicing business where I'll need to buy a lot of produce, to juice. And I want to see, what it would take to buy produce from you for my testing purposes, right? And and that way it's like, they know you're not a business. You're considering opening a business, but you're going to need a lot of produce, and hopefully if you're a raw foodist, you are going to be juicing at least a good part of it for yourself, and if not, your family and friends. Do you sell produce? How can I buy produce from you? Or another question might be, do you have organic produce? Many produce wholesalers, unfortunately, do not have organic produce, and if you find a wholesaler, you're probably not going to get the same deal as I get at the produce terminal. You might, but you probably won't, right? So then once you figure out if you could even buy from them, because most of them say, no, you need a business license, and then if you have a business license, and you could get a business license without actually having a business, might have to pay for a business license, or you might need to get a free resale certificate, from your state, which is all doable. It's not too super difficult. So then you could actually buy from them, and you could try that out. And so that's probably my next best tip. And then after wholesalers, the next line is there's a lot of like discounters. So here in my city, there's what's called the 99 only stores, and they basically sell everything. Well, not everything, but most things for $1. And they have produce. They always have conventional produce, and sometimes they'll have organic too. They also often have hothouse produce in there too. So I like to shop around at those stores. And another thing I like to do to save money to buy produce is I like to, every Wednesday when the local ads come out, there's like at least 4 or 5 different like Mexican markets in the area. There's several different Asian markets and just the standard, chain supermarkets and the 2 health food stores in town. I'll look at all the ads, and you could do that online, and then you could kind of make notes of where you want to go. On Wednesdays, particularly in my city, they have special deals. So this Wednesday, I think they had like papayas, like 2 pounds for $1, and avocados, like small ones, like 4 for $1. And then on regular days, they'll have a little bit different deals. But Wednesdays always, they had like 4 mangoes for $1. They're probably small ones. That's just regular retail prices. In some cases, if something on sale at a retail store, it might be even cheaper than wholesale in some, instances. It's like, man, I couldn't have even bought this stuff in LA for this cheap. So, and then again, like in the sale ads, like I was at the produce terminal, and you could buy like 10 stalks of sugar cane for like $16 to $18. And here in town, just retail, you could buy them for like $2. So, shop around is my final comments, all right? So I hope that helps you out there, Garrett. Next question is from hypothalamus pituitary. All right. Hello, friendo. I'm wondering why you did not personally not consume honey. All right. So the fact of the matter is that, honey is not a major food for me. Okay, I'll say that. I don't think it should be a major food for anybody. I don't think anybody should have a honey-based diet. I don't think anybody should be eating honey on an everyday and regular basis. Number one, it's probably stolen from the bees, which I don't think is really cool, because really the bees are making the honey not for us to steal and eat. It's being made for them to basically survive the winter, and it's basically a food store for them. It's like if you go out and find fruit trees and you harvest a whole bunch and bring it home, right? And then another raw foodist sneaks in your house at night and steals all your ripe persimmons. You ain't gonna be too happy, right? So how do the bees feel, right? So, I don't like to, consume honey on any regular basis. There are a few, maybe like one recipe that I like to use honey in occasionally, but it is definitely not my sweetener of choice. But for this one recipe, that's kind of like what I learned and what I made and what I'm used to. And that's probably not the only reason why I use honey these days. And so when I get my honey, I usually visit a farmer, these days, and I have a lot of farmer friends, and they'll say, hey, John, you want some honey? And I'll say yes. And then they'll give me their honey. So I don't even really particularly like to buy honey for the most part, although there is an exception. I will get some good quality Manuka honey, on occasion, and that is used for medicinal purposes. And Manuka honey is not good because it's honey, but it's because the honey comes from a special Manuka or tea tree plant, where literally you're now able to eat some of the pollen and get some of the phytonutrients from the plant itself, right? But I don't want to get into the big long and short of honey, but basically honey is a concentrated sweetener. It's not healthy for us. And number two, it's being stolen from the bees. And I'll put a link down below to a video I did about compassionate beekeeping. I think this whole deal about right, wrong, good, bad, honey's bad, it's good. It's like honey is somewhere in between. And you need to personally decide for yourself if it is righteous or good for you or not. In terms of health, honey is a highly processed sugar, and unless there's some other benefits that might be good, it's just not a health food. I mean, fruit definitely is better than eating honey. I'd rather use dried fruits or dates, to sweeten my recipes than any kind of honey. But on the same level, I'd rather eat some Manuka honey than white sugar, which I definitely wouldn't even put in my body. And there's also medicinal uses, and But anyways, find a beekeeper that actually sustainably and treats his bees well and doesn't steal the honey. The beekeeper that I highlight in the video down below, Compassionate Beekeeping, right? They actually take out some of the honey and store it for the winter for the bees, just a little bit. And if the bees they leave the bees a lot of honey so that they could make it. And if the honey gets robbed from the beehive, then the farmers that harvested the honey will actually put it back in the beehive to keep the bees alive, right? Instead of feeding them sugar water. So I think the honey industry is atrocious. In addition, a lot of the honey that's being imported, even if it says raw, could be adulterated with corn syrup and all these other things. And so actually, in general, I just recommend against, purchasing honey. If you want to keep your own hives and maybe tap a little bit off the top, I don't really have a problem with that, because you are actually helping the bees, and you're going to hopefully provide also good, plants and food for the bees, and the bees are suffering, right? All right, next question is from Matt Schweitzer. Are you an advocate for distilled water or urine therapy as opposed to fluorination? All right, so I'm not a fan of fluorination at all. We should not be fluorinating water systems, whole entire water systems, and not giving people a choice whether they want to consume this drug, really. I mean, it is a drug. And if you want to put fluoride on your toothpaste and brush your teeth with because you think it's going to help your teeth, more power to you. I encourage you to do whatever you guys want to do, but I don't think we should be just mass fluorided. I think it's a toxic substance that can cause a lot of harm, especially when it's drank, in such large quantities over time, and can bioaccumulate. So that's that. And the other thing is, even if you think it's good for your teeth, like one of my ex-girlfriends that's no longer with us, rest in peace, nobly. There are better ways to remineralize your teeth. I hope to have an upcoming episode on dental toothpastes that I've used that actually have helped, in my opinion, remineralize my teeth, because my teeth are not as sensitive as before. Okay, so distilled water. So the question is, distilled water. Is distilled water the best water to drink? So in my opinion, the best water to drink is water filtered from plants. So I like to juice. Like this morning I made a juice with celery, cucumbers, Nepal cactus pads from my garden, a little bit of one tree colored leaf, some apples, and some ginger. And I like to get my hydration from the plants, because when you drink plant water, you're getting not only the liquids, not only the water, you're getting it in a structured format, but also you're getting it with minerals, with the right charge, so you can absorb them. You're also getting plenty of other antioxidants and phytonutrients in with the water. Aside from drinking distilled water, I would rather drink coconut water, because coconut water, guess what? It's filtered by the plant, which is the best filtration on the earth, in my opinion. Not only does it filter, but it also adds things like plant cytokines, and also the electrolytes, the trace minerals, and as well as antioxidants. Okay, distilled water is heated at hot temperature, and because it's literally steam evaporated, which would not necessarily happen in nature, right? Water is not super boiled to evaporate to turn it into distilled water in nature. For me personally, instead of distilled water, I'd much rather have like even a Tetra Pak coconut water that's 100% pure. Even that does not get to boiling temperature, so it's not even as hot. Plus, it has other benefits, in my opinion. That being said, if you need to drink a water and you're dehydrated, which I do drink water, it's usually when I'm traveling, when I don't have enough fruits or vegetables with me, or juices or coconut water, and the hotel has water and I'm super dehydrated. It's definitely not good to be dehydrated, and if I got to drink water in a plastic bottle, which is not my first choice, because I made a commitment to myself to buy water in glass bottles if I'm actually buying water, which is quite rare because I'd rather buy coconut water. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that it's definitely one of the better waters if you have to drink some kind of water or reverse osmosis. I'm at a point in my life now where I believe that we don't want to be drinking water with the that it's hard water that has minerals in it. Number one, it has a wrong polarity or charge, so we're not really going to absorb the minerals from it, and it may cause excess calcification and other deposits in our bodies. If you guys go to your faucet like I can here and you see like hard water spots, like white spots, you know, when you're drinking that water, there's probably leaving some white spots or some kind of deposits in you. And for our fur-legged friends that you saw Oakley here, he does not drink water with heavy metals or minerals in it. He gets actually reverse osmosis water for when he wants to drink. But then the other thing is I try to give him plenty of juices, and he gets hydration from his food. So his dog food at night generally is mixed with some kind of a juice or broth, vegetable broth, so he could get a lot of, you know, hydration from his food, so he doesn't need to drink as much water. I guess there's people say that, oh, like distilled water pulls minerals from you, leaches minerals. And yeah, I mean, if you think that's true, hey, drop some drops of lemon, you know, in there, add some kind of like, you know, fulvic acid minerals or something that's a plant-based minerals, or dilute it with some coconut water or some juice or something like that to add some minerals back in there. I know people could also add salt in there for some minerals, but the salt, no, that's not in the right format minerals that we need either. It's still like rock format minerals, all right? What I might do is actually just soak some seaweed in there, actually, and then drink the water. That'd probably be a little bit better. All right, and then the next question is urine therapy. So urine therapy, I don't know if I've ever tasted my urine. I have had girlfriends that have actually, or ex-girlfriends now, that have tasted their own urine. I don't know if I've ever tried that. You know, am I an advocate for it? I mean, I'd say that, you know, I'd rather drink my own urine before I took any kind of medicinal drugs, right? I'd say that for sure. You know, I mean, I think that people might want to try water fasting or juice fasting before they did urine therapy. I mean, I think there's other therapies that may be more beneficial than urine therapy, but, you know, I guess if I was stranded on a boat and I was on the ocean and I didn't have water, I'd probably drink my pee like they teach the Marines. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any, like, people get too, like, this is right, this is wrong, and I'm like, urine therapy, I'm like, I mean, I could do it. I don't think it's, like, super wrong, but it's not super right, but I'm not going to sit there and be, like, you know, guzzling my own pee anytime soon. All right. Okay, next question is from Gabriel F. What's your view on periodic fasting / cleansing for maintaining optimum health on a raw foods diet? I agree with that, actually. I think that we should do periodic fasting and or cleansing. I think that can be quite helpful. When I got into raw foods, I did, you know, a super major colon cleanse, which really got me on track and cleared my brain, my mind. It was so helpful. So especially if you're coming off, you know, standard American diet and you've been eating all these processed junk foods for a long time, I think that could actually be quite helpful and really good to do. And the other thing is this, right? I've seen so many people use periodic fasting and cleansing in an improper way. And it makes me really sad because people, like, it'll be like that binge purge kind of thing. Like, they'll go out and they'll try to eat raw foods or, you know, have a good vegan, whole food, plant-based diet. And they'll do it, and then they'll mess up, they'll have McDonald's, and they'll have some cookies, and they'll have something else, and then they'll be like, oh, that's all right, I'm just going to cleanse, right? So then they cleanse, you know, they fast, and then they get back to, okay, I'm good now, I'm eating good, and then they just slip up, and they have some cookies or some junk food, and then like, I'm just going to cleanse now. That's not the way that you guys should be using cleansing. You know, you guys should be using cleansing, you know, to enhance your diet and not use it as a backup plan when you screw up, right? And the other thing is, I don't want you guys to ever screw up, or don't make it in your mind that like, oh, I've put something toxic in my body and I need to cleanse. I want you guys to just put healthy stuff in your body all the time, right? And just work on increasing amounts of fruits, the fresh fruits and fresh vegetables you guys are consuming on a daily basis, and make yourself a success. You know, just say, hey, today I'm going to eat 50% of the food I'm eating is me fruits and vegetables, and I'm a success. And if I eat some, you know, junk food, I'm not a failure, and it's all right. The fruits and vegetables are going to help compensate for that. And tomorrow, because of that, I'm going to eat more fruits and vegetables, and keep building on your successes so that you could increase the amounts of fresh fruits and vegetables and decrease the amounts of junk food, animal foods in excess, and milk and dairy and all these kind of things, even vegan junk foods that you guys are eating on a continual basis, right? And our bodies will naturally cleanse, but I do think that it could be beneficial for a periodic fast juice cleanse or whatnot. And that being said, you know, I like to cleanse myself every night, right? There's a total of 12 hours a day at this point, sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter, where I'm not really eating any food. Actually, today, I've actually only had juices, and it's already like freaking 5 o'clock. So, I mean, I went to bed last night. I haven't had anything to eat today. I had coconut water when I woke up, then I had 2 juices. I haven't even eaten today. And so, like, to me, that's kind of like fasting, because I'm giving my body a break of any kind of solid food. And then I'm going to eat probably like a fruit meal, a salad, or dinner meal, and then I'm going to basically do the same thing again. So, you know, you could take the opportunity every day to do this. Intermittent fasting, I think, is great. But don't use it improperly, right? And I think you can get extreme, like, John, I don't eat for 20 hours a day and I have a 4-hour window where I need to pack in on my calories. I don't know that that's necessarily too healthy either, you know, so just relax. All right, next question is Stanley Tip Sword. How do I eliminate brown rot on my peaches? All right, that's a good question. So I'm not sure if there's peaches on the tree or peaches that you have stored and they're starting to rot. I mean, number one, I think is, peaches, once you get them, if they're ripe, you kind of need to eat them, and they will rot. I mean, all fresh foods will rot, and that cannot be prevented. I mean, it will occur. It can be prolonged so that you can keep your fresh foods fresher for longer, right? And so what I'd say is, you know, a lot of rot happens because of bacterial growth. So you want to clean your peaches, you know, provided there's no holes or breaks in the skin. You can get what I have. I have an ozone ultrasonic machine that basically ozonates and puts ultrasonic waves to vibrate all the contaminants and bacteria off the produce. And so then it makes it basically clean, so that if you clean off all the bacteria on there, they're not there to basically eat it, break it down, cause it to mold and go bad and rot, right? The thing you guys can do is once you use that, number two, you got to get it dry. Make sure your fruits are not being stored wet. That's really bad. And then put it in the fridge at the proper temperature, right? The proper temperature, if the fruits are stored at the proper temperature, they can last infinitely longer. If they're stored at the incorrect temperature, they'll degrade faster, right? Peppers, they don't like it too cold. If it's 35 degrees in your fridge, that's too cold for peppers. They will expire faster because they can't deal with the excess cold. If they're too warm, they could rot faster. They want to be just right. I think the temperature for peppers is around like 50 degrees. They really like it 50 degrees, right? And then they'll stay fresher the longest. Check out a link down below for a video I did on storing your produce at the right temperature. I mean, this is advanced topic stuff. Most raw foodists don't talk about this, all right? So, yeah. Next question is from S. Peak. Do you have a video on how to get started on a plant-based diet? How did you dump the junk and become a hunk? All right. So let's see. I have videos on how to include more fresh fruits and vegetables in your diet, and I'll put a link down below to that video. And what I would say is this, you know, the easy way to do it is by the inch it's a cinch, by the yard it's hard, right? Just make a goal every day to increase the amount of fresh fruits and fresh vegetables and other whole plant foods every day, and just keep it growing it bigger and bigger and bigger. You might have to stop at a certain period of time, you know, and you're going to have mostly healthy stuff and a little bit of junk stuff, because I think this cold turkey stuff, as much as it might work for certain personality types, which is what I did, and I was just strong-willed and had a really strong reason to change my diet overnight because I had a health crisis that I needed to take care of. And if you have a health crisis, then it's probably good to do cold turkey and not just do this, you know, slow but sure method, because you really have to, and times are critical. Time is of the essence. But if you have the time, you know, slowly do it, right? Eat healthy stuff all day, and for dinner, you know, have your favorite dinner. But hey, you ate breakfast, lunch, and your snacks and other meals of the day as the healthiest stuff ever, and then you just have one dinner, right? And do that, keep that up, right? And then you're even if you're like not liking the healthy stuff, right? You got to stick to it, because your body will change, your taste buds will change, and the more healthy stuff you eat, and the more you feel your body after you eat each healthy meal, you're gonna, wow, I feel great after eating a meal of fruit. Wow, I feel great after having that green juice. Wow, I feel great after that green smoothie. And then you're going to eat your dinner, right? And you're going to eat your dinner of junk food or whatever you're eating. And be like, man, I don't feel great. Like, my energy feels zapped. I feel like lying down. I feel like being a couch potato watching some TV. And you'll realize this. And slowly but surely, your taste buds will come attuned to the healthy food. And really, you'll start, your body will start rebelling against junk food. You know, and this won't happen if you go all or nothing. Because if you go all, healthy stuff and no junk stuff, then what's going to happen is your body's going to miss the junk stuff so much, and you're going to want to eat it, and then you're going to eat it, and then you're going to say, I screwed up, and then you're just going to screw the healthy stuff and just eat the junk stuff. Then slowly but surely, for that last dinner meal where you're having the junky stuff, and hopefully you're having healthier junky stuff, because junk stuff comes in a range, do that for a while, and then half the amount of junk stuff, and have half healthy stuff for dinner, half junk stuff for dinner, right? Just there, that half healthy stuff, half junk stuff, and keep that up. Keep it up for a year. I don't care, and then keep increasing the healthy stuff at night, decreasing the junk stuff at night. Meanwhile, your full day is full of fresh juices, green smoothies, salads, and fresh fruits, and there you go. I don't think it's too difficult. If I did need to recommend a book for you guys, I'd recommend actually for a whole food plant-based diet. The healthiest diet style out there is Joel Fuhrman's Nutritarian style diet. So I would recommend looking up a book called Eat to Live or Eating for Health. Two excellent books by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. He talks about eating a nutrient-dense diet, and that's just different than a plant-based diet. You could eat a plant-based diet and you could still have junk vegan foods, right? But if you eat a whole food plant-based diet, you could eat a lot of white potatoes and white rice, and that could be whole food plant-based, but you're missing out a lot of the phytonutrients that are really, in my opinion, the cause for health, aside from actually just not eating the junk, which is a cause for not having health. All right? So I hope that answers your question there. Hendrik H., is it possible to juice a mango with a vertical slow juicer, or is the fiber from the mango going to clog the screen? All right, Hendrik, this is something I have tried. I don't know if I have a video on it. So on mangoes, number one, remove the pit. Super important. Number two, remove the skin. There can be toxins in the skin as well as pesticides and things on the skin, so remove the skin. And then if you want to juice a mango in a vertical juicer, you have to get a hard and firm mango. Like, this goes everything against how I want to eat mangoes personally. But if you put a soft, mushy mango through a vertical juicer, it's going to clog and jam and not work. Now, the mango fibers won't clog the screen necessarily, but it depends on the juicer you're using. I recommend the Omega VSJ 843. That screen does not tend to get clogged as bad as other screens I have experienced on other vertical slow juicers. But if you juice hard mango, hopefully it's as ripe as possible, but it's still going to be hard, it's going to juice fairly well in the VSJ 843. I guess if you have a soft mango, it's just better to vacuum blend mangoes. They just don't really juice well. And I think it's pretty much a waste of mango to juice them, right? Just blend them up in a vacuum blender and be happy about it. Or just, if they're so ripe, right, just eat them. They're so delicious. I wouldn't even bother juicing them, right? Let's see, what else would, and then I guess the best way to juice a mango, the best juice would be like a press style. If you have like a mango that's like dripping wet, pulpy, it's not going to juice in a vertical juicer. Put it in a press, in a hydraulic press, and just put it in the press cloth. Put it in there and just squeeze all the juice out. That's truly the best way to juice most fruits. Most fruits do not do well in most mechanical style juicers, period. All right. Laura V., how do you deal with cravings? I really don't have any cravings for like junk food or hamburgers or breads or cheese or, cookies or anything these days, because it's been so long since I've eaten any of those foods. I do have some cravings for like maybe some sweets. And so when I have cravings for sweets, I'll just go for the healthiest sweets, So I do freeze-dried fruit, maybe some fruit with nut butter, some dried fruit with nut butter, banana ice cream. And so basically for cravings, I would recommend you guys use my substitution principle. If you're craving something sweet, just have something sweet, but make sure it's just a healthy sweetener. So the healthiest sweeteners on the planet are fresh fruits. They're the best because they have full water content. They're sweet, they're delicious, they're juicy. This time of year there's persimmons that hopefully are ripe near you. And if that's not sweet enough, then eat some dried fruits, right? And if that's not good enough, eat some dried fruits with some nuts. That's not optimal combination, but it's sure a heck of a lot healthier than a Snickers bar, than diet cheese, or a lot of other, foods out there, right? Now, the other thing I'll say for cravings is that when you're craving something, it could be a mental craving, which I'm not any expert on. I hope to have a video soon talking about more cravings and things like this. But the other thing it could be a nutritional deficiency. Your body's craving something because you're not getting the nutrients or calories you guys need a day. I know sometimes if I get cravings at night, it's because I was so busy working, I drank few juices, didn't eat enough food, and then my body's craving extra calories at the end of the night. Because I just didn't eat enough, right? And so if you're craving for calories, then you just definitely need to start eating more during the day. And another reason why you may be craving, in my opinion, is because you're just starving of certain nutrients, right? In my opinion, the food system and how food is being grown industrial, even organic or conventional agriculture, food is not being grown with all the different trace minerals that should be in the soils. And that's one of the reasons why I grow my own food with all the different trace minerals that I could get in there and put in there, so that I'm going to have, food replete in trace minerals instead of, food deplete and depleted soils like most industrial food is being grown. Now, if you're not able to grow your own food, that's all right, right? Don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. I would encourage you at some point in your journey to start growing your own food. It is very empowering. You will notice how much better the food tastes. Oh my God, my spinach right now this time of year in the winter is insane. Like, I can't imagine picking up like a box of Earthbound, baby spinach and eating that. It's so chalky, has zero flavor, just nasty. And my spinach, it's like sweet. I'd almost rather eat like my sweet spinach than like unripe persimmons, because my sweet spinach has like mineral flavor. It's sweet. It's just delicious. Like, and it doesn't even need a dressing. It's so insane. But if you guys can't grow your own stuff, that's all right. I would encourage you guys to get mineral-rich food. So I guess the easiest mineral-rich foods are from the sea vegetables, right? And make sure you get a good source of sea vegetables. I don't know if I have any in-depth deep videos on sea vegetables. I'll post a link down below where I harvested sea vegetables out of the ocean myself and show you guys how to do that if you guys live in California, in a pristine area. Doesn't have a lot of traffic and all these kind of things. But yeah, I would encourage you guys to eat sea vegetables on a regular and everyday basis. They not only have the trace minerals, but all other kinds of different, nutrients and phytonutrients that can be beneficial for us. And once again, my diet is not a seaweed diet as much as I like to advocate that. My diet is a fruit and vegetable diet with some seaweed several times a week. I have a seaweed powder that I mix in with different dressings and soups I make. And I also soak seaweed, dried seaweed, have some fresh seaweed sometimes that has been cured in salt, and then I soak to get all the sodium off, and then I'll eat that mixed in with salads. It's just super delicious. I think that could help you a lot with your cravings. It might be also like, if you're not eating any certain one kind of food, you might have cravings for iron. If you're a lady and you're on your menstrual period, you might have cravings for who knows what. And so then the other thing I'd recommend is just get a blood test to see where you guys are at. I put a link down below to a video I made with Dr. Rick Dina, who will help vegans and raw vegans get blood tests to make sure you're dialed in and getting all the nutrition you need. All right. Next question is from Kobe Grimes 1234. Do you have any tips on staying healthy and also vegan? I'm having a lot of trouble maintaining a healthy weight, energy levels, and have lost a lot of sex drive. Eating lots of nuts, beans, lentils, greens, cruciferous, supplementing B12, eating nutritional yeast, spirulina, chlorella. I'm also juicing regularly with the Green Star Elite. Any advice? All right, Kobe. So staying healthy vegan, and this is a challenge I see a lot. I see videos come out all the time. No longer raw vegan, no longer vegan, and people just totally jump ship when they're having challenges. So I applaud you for sticking with it, whatever your reasons may be. And here's the whole thing. The whole thing is, nobody has. What does it mean when you're vegan? When you're vegan, it means you're just eating plant foods. You could be eating processed junk food plant foods and be vegan. If you're a raw foodist, you could eat nothing but bananas, dates, and romaine hearts and be a raw vegan. You could eat actually just, nut butter and dates and be a raw vegan because they're both raw, but that's not a healthy diet because you're so restricted. It looks like you're trying to increase all the different foods you're eating, which is good, but I would try to expand that even further. We all get into the habits of going to the grocery store. We have our shopping list. And we basically buy the same thing week in and week out, right? Try to buy different foods, right? Because every different food has different vitamins, minerals, and also, more importantly, the phytonutrients and phytochemicals that your body may be lacking in. And this is my personal opinion. I know there's some people that say, John, there's people in South America that live on nothing but potatoes, and so all the nutrition we need is in potatoes, and hey, great for them. I'm not interested in just living. I'm interested in thriving and getting all the nutrients my body needs and having all the different phytochemicals that have all different kinds of anti-cancer, anti-diabetes, anti-heart disease properties within them, because I don't know all the research that has been done or is yet to be done and all the possible benefits of all the different plant foods. So I really encourage like a diet rotation, and as much as you have a lot of good items in there, I try to fill in with other, items you're not eating, that you maybe not eating enough of. I know a lot of people may shun fruit. I didn't see really any fruit in there, so maybe you're on a more of a higher fat, vegan diet, or I don't know what, but there's good nutrients in fruit, so I don't think any necessarily category of food should necessarily be completely neglected. I would encourage you to eat, a wider variety of things and experiment. And the other thing is, especially if you're having a loss of sex drive and maintaining a healthy weight, to me that would indicate, but of course you need to see a medical doctor to get a diagnosis. I could say if that was happening to me and I had a loss of sex drive, which I don't, or, I had problems maintaining a healthy weight, I would say I'm actually under eating. I'm just not eating enough calories, so I'd encourage you to go to fitday.com or Chronometer and punch in like what exactly you're eating in a day and find out how many calories you're actually eating, and then also, do the Krups, Jacob, whatever calculator. Anyways, you guys could figure out how much calories you need based on your height, weight, and activity level, and you can make sure that those at least are fairly close, within a few hundred calories of each other. And if you want to gain weight, then add another 500 calories to what you're eating so that you can go over and above what that estimate says you need, in which case you should gain weight, right? I mean, the other thing is malabsorption. I mean, I was just talking to a guy who bought a juicer from me, and he called me back after a month or two and he's like, John, I gained like 20 pounds, man. And I'm like thinking in my head, uh-oh, this is not good. This guy's gaining weight on juicing. I'm like, it's not supposed to happen like that. And then he started talking, and I'm like, and then I remembered, oh yeah, that's the guy that had digestive issues. So I mean, if you're not digesting your food properly, right, not absorbing the nutrients, you also might not be able to maintain your weight too. And that gets into a whole nother areas like microbiome, right? If we don't have the right bacteria in our bodies and our guts, we're not going to be digesting our food. They are a big part of us, and due to antibiotic use and antibiotic-ridden animal foods, right, it could really mess up our microbiome. If our microbiome is messed up, then we're messed up, right? So I mean, I don't want to say it's this or this, but if there's so many things, I would encourage you to at least minimally get your blood tested by Dr. Rick Dina. Once again, link is down below, at least to get some baselines and kind of see maybe you're deficient in something, maybe you're not absorbing something. I mean, there's even now like new genetic deficiencies that if in your genes you don't have certain genes and you can't convert beta carotene into vitamin A, and you can be vitamin A deficient despite eating tons of carrots, right? There's so many different crazy things, so it'd be crazy for me to say, oh, it's this or it's that, right? So I just give you some general things to think about if I was in your situation. So hope that helps you out there. Vincent Hermes, best tips for maintaining and building muscle while eating raw. So, I mean, I've had videos that I'll post links down below to my friend Robert Cheek, also Mike Velocity, and Mike Velocity eats raw, and Robert Cheek eats a whole food plant-based diet now. And so what I will say is this, right? I will say that, number one, muscles are not built from the food you eat. They're built by the work you do, right? So, I mean, I don't have muscles because I'm going to the gym and pumping weights. I have muscles because I garden and lift 50-pound bags of rock dust and, 40-pound bags of, wood pine pellets that I use for composting. I carry, 40-pound boxes of bananas and produce from the produce terminal several blocks to my car. Or when I go to the farmers markets, I carry 30-pound juicers to get shipped out at FedEx. I get real-world exercise. So, I mean, number one, hopefully you guys got that down. And the other thing is just eating enough calories, and more important than just calories, and this is something I learned from Robert Cheek, because he's the bodybuilder guy, and he's been through that, right? He learned that even when he was taking, like, vegan protein powders and eating a junk food vegan diet, because when I met Robert Cheek a long time ago, man, I was on a raw foods, plant-based diet, and he was on, like, a junk food vegan diet, but he's a bodybuilder guy. But now, he's finally seen the error of his ways. I'm so happy. And he's like, John, he's like, man, you are right. All those years ago, I should have just been eating whole food plant-based, because now that I'm eating whole food plant-based, getting a variety of different nutrients in their whole form, I'm excelling even better at building muscle and gaining strength and recovering faster than ever before. So, I mean, I think that's just the answer. I mean, our bodies are not designed to take isolated supplements. So, I mean, I would say eat enough. Make sure you get enough greens, because I know a lot of people may tend to eat a lot of fruit, which, hey, fruit's great, but we really need those green alkalizing minerals, right? Start juicing, doing green juices and, vary the different greens you're juicing to really, get some of those phytonutrients and the proteins from the greens, right? So, I mean, that's about all I'll have to say on that. I've maintained my muscle, and I don't know, I probably built a little bit of muscle, but my muscle doesn't really change too much because I always do pretty much the same activity. So that's about the best I can answer that because I'm not a bodybuilder. All right. So, but yeah, check the links down below for the videos I did with Robert Cheek and Michael Astany. All right, City Homestead, got any recommendations to overcome sugar addiction? Something simple that doesn't require a gazillion greens in a smoothie. All right. So sugar addictions. What I'm going to say is this. I mean, there's bad sugars and there's better sugars, right? Bad sugars are like white processed sugars. Even honey, I would consider bad sugar. Agave, in my opinion, is a bad sugar. Coconut sugar, that's a bad sugar, right? It's basically we're extracting nothing but the sweetness or the sugar from the food. And so I would say there's better sugars, right? Better sugars would be fresh fruits. The sugars in natural proportions with water, phytonutrients, vitamins and minerals, structured waters in there. And then after that, maybe like dried fruits would be best because that's missing the water component. So number one, I would say, number one, get rid of all the bad processed sugars because they are so sweet, right? And this may be hard because fruit sugars are not as sweet as, processed, refined sugars that are concentrated. And so I would say if you have sugar cravings, eat fruit, right? Eat fruit till you pop, right? And just fill up on fruit. And you're going to have to deal with but I want more sugar, and you're going to eat all this fruit, and you're going to want more sugar, and you're just going to be like, this is what I'm giving myself because this is what's healthy. And that's at least a step in the right direction. Is that the ultimate step? Some people would say yes, some people would say no. And I would say that, really we have a sweet tooth for a reason. Our sweet tooth is because sugar is a sign that there are minerals in the food, right? And in this day and age, there are not as many minerals in the food as there used to be even in the 1950s, 50 years ago, which is quite sad, right? So the other thing I would say is you really want to amp up, or if it was me, I would amp up my trace minerals, right? My spinach is super sweet. If I eat my spinach, it's like super sweet. And it's minerally, but it's also sweet. That's also because the plants make sugars in the wintertime when it gets so cold, and the sugars help protect it from freezing, right? And so you need to get some more trace minerals, in my opinion, and that's what I would do. If it was me, I would just have more trace minerals, eat more seaweeds and whatnot, and slowly try to get off all the processed sugars and convert over to fresh fruits. The thing I would do is I'd increase the green consumption. The other thing is our taste buds are used to what we're eating. If we're always eating sweet stuff, that's what we're used to. And when you eat even like spinach leaf or worse, a dandelion leaf, it tastes really horrible and you can't eat it, right? You gotta get it in you. I mean, you really just gotta start getting the stuff that's not sweet in you, and your body will start acclimating a taste to it. This could take a couple, 2-3 weeks before you do it. If you want to do it faster, go to True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, California, go on a water fast, right? If you go on a water fast, supervised water fast. I do not encourage unsupervised water fasts. But go there and do a supervised water fast for 7, 10, 14 days, right? And when you come off that water fast, you will basically lose all your tastes for all the old foods you eat, and you'll be on a new path. It'll basically open up your whole new world for you of a new flavor sensations. They will refeed you after fasting properly, and they will get you on an SOS, salt, oil, and sugar-free diet at True North, and that's a good reset, right? So yeah, that's all I got for you. Hope that helps you out. Okay. Annie Steeples. Hi, John. Wondering what your thoughts are on using the raw protein powders. I noticed that other raw foodists, such as Fully Raw Christina, use them. I have osteoporosis and am concerned I might not get adequate amounts of protein and calcium on a raw foods diet. I also don't want to eat huge amounts of food because my stomach can't take it. Thanks, love your videos. Alright, Andy, so I can only say, if it was me, this is what I would do, right? Okay, so that being said, I'm not a fan of extracted raw protein powder. I don't care if they're raw, I don't care if they're vegan, right? What I care about is if there are phytonutrients in there. Most of the protein powders are like hemp protein, pea protein, and basically what they do is they take the hemp, seeds, they basically press out all the oil, right, which they sell to you guys, and then they have the pressed cake. And they're like, how could we sell this pressed cake, which is a waste product? Normally, we just feed it to the pigs because all the good stuff, the oil is gone from it. And then somebody had a bright idea. Let's just call it protein powder because now there's protein in there. The fat's gone, but it's good protein, and now we can sell for a bunch of money. And meanwhile, it's missing a lot of the different phytonutrients that has been pressed out or that has been processed out. And so rice protein, pea protein, I don't care what kind of protein it is. It's all highly processed food, and I'm against processed foods as well as animal products as they are being eaten in excess amounts. So, I believe we can get our protein from our food, and if you feel you are not getting enough protein, which I don't, if you are eating enough calories in a day, you're probably getting enough protein if you're eating a good, variety of fruits and vegetables and, different foods out there. I like to juice a lot, so I juice greens. I juiced, half a dozen tree collards from my garden today. That has, the greens are one of the highest foods in the protein out there. I mean, that's where the animals get their protein, is from greens they eat or other plant foods. Factory farm animals unfortunately get it from corn and soy, which is GMO. So even GMO foods have proteins in there. But, there are good, better, and best proteins, So protein powders, that's like a really, better than animal products, but a poor source because they're highly processed and refined. Best would be like, eat real food. Eat more greens. Juice more greens to get protein out of them. Now, if you wanted to do some kind of supplement, there are some supplements of protein powders that I actually like. And I think it's called like Warrior Elite Protein by Health Force. And that's actually basically just spirulina and chlorella powder. Spirulina and chlorella are algae. They are super high in protein, but besides just the protein, they also have other phytonutrients, phytochemicals, phycocyanins, and vitamins and minerals. So you're getting protein powder with a punch, with other nutrients. A recent episode I had, I was at the trade show for the supplement industry, and basically they had a duckweed protein powder, which is not just protein powder because it's duckweed. They extract it to heck. They basically just take the duckweed, they heat process it, and they powder it up. So it's literally just a green powder that's higher in protein and other phytonutrients than just some of the other highly processed protein powders out there, right? So yeah, so I don't know if that's commercially available yet, or maybe selling that. It's grown there in Florida. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'd say. And then calcium, for calcium, I think greens. Greens, that's what I think when I think of calcium, right? I think greens, and it's important to eat lots of greens and rotate your greens. And as for if I had osteoporosis and I have been diagnosed with osteopenia in the past from bone density tests that I have had, despite eating lots of greens, there's other cofactors aside from having the calcium in you to get the greens, to get the calcium into your bones, right? Like vitamin D and vitamin K2 and other vitamins, right? So it's important to make sure you're getting all the different nutrients you need so your body can assimilate the calcium and get that in your body so that you won't become deficient, all right? So, yeah, just my opinions on that topic. All right, next question is from Kathy Weber. I know you really believe and have a lot of knowledge about raw foods. I have wanted to learn how to grow and juice wheatgrass. I also want to learn and grow microgreens. Can you help me? I saw your review about the wheatgrass juicers and I know which one I want. I just need help getting started. All right, Kathy. Yes, I can help. I have many videos. A lot of the questions in this Q&A may have already been answered in a video, and you just got to search. So on my Growing Your Greens channel, I have several videos where I visit wheatgrass farms, and I have videos on how to grow wheatgrass in trays. I've visited microgreens farms. I've visited farms that grow sprouts. And I'll post a couple links down below to videos I've done on those topics. Watch those videos, and that'll give you a good start on how to do it. It's really not that difficult. All right, last question from Don Wokson. Hey John, I have to say that I love your videos and I've been watching them for a while now. I have a question. I have lost all my teeth and can't wear dentures, so eating raw food is hard for me. What do you recommend for me to start on this diet? I eat very healthy, lots of soup, and I make my own water kefir, and I use a good variety of fruits, and I blend them in my Vitamix. Any tips would be great, thanks. All right, Don. So the big challenge with the raw foods diet is that there's a lots of fiber in it mostly, right? And I have to use my teeth. And what would I do if I didn't have my teeth? I guess I could answer the question like that. What would I do if I didn't have my teeth, right? I would definitely depend on the appliances even more than I do now. And I juice several times a day already, or I might juice once a day and drink juice several times throughout the day because I make, one or two juices in the morning and then I vacuum and save them in the fridge. I also like to use my vacuum blender. So, I would recommend using the appliances to do the chewing for you. And just because the appliances are doing the chewing for you does not mean you can just slurp that stuff down and get it in you as fast as you can. Especially if you're not doing the chewing, you want to salivate, number one, so hold the foods that are blended up in front of you and start getting hungry. Your mouth will start to salivate. Actually, just doing that exercise, my mouth started salivating because I'm actually hungry. Probably gonna need some fruit next. And so you want to salivate first, and then you want to take a swig of the smoothie or juice and swish it around in your mouth, right? And don't immediately swallow. I know some people like to immediately swallow, but you want to take your time and make the chewing motion, even if you're gumming it, because you got gums, got teeth, gum it around. And say you have a big salad that you basically just made a blended salad in your blender, right? You want to basically take each mouthful and act as if you're chewing it, because that's going to help get your body into a digestive mode and help you assimilate the nutrients from the foods you're now basically using a mechanical means to process into a smaller texture, and even though you're not. So you need to really stimulate that. And our jaw movements, they've researched all these crazy things about, our whole system and how it really needs to work together to get optimal digestion, right? Also sitting down and trying not to be distracted while eating, also another really important one. I could probably take tips from my own videos, right? So yeah, I'd recommend that. So, I would just say recommend the appliances, and more importantly, I'd recommend the best appliances for you to use. So if you're going to be blending, which I know you're using a Vitamix now, within a week or so, I'll be selling a carafe that'll fit on the Vitamix. You can vacuum blend in your Vitamix. This is super important because when we chew things with our mouth, like I was chewing my salad last night, right? I chew like 50 times. I'm slowly crushing up everything into a mush at a low and slow speed. I wish we had blenders that ran as slow as my teeth. I don't know, it'd probably take you about an hour to blend something up, I guess, at that point. But the problem with the blenders, they run really fast, and they're basically cutting the food super fast. They're introducing air, because if you look down in the Vitamix, it causes a little vortex, which looks like a tornado that could come in, in Kansas and tear up Dorothy's house. Does lots of damage. It's damaging your food, and I only was aware of this recently when the vacuum blenders came out of the market, and I'm like, wow, I never thought of this before. And it's true, the vacuum blending technology is so amazing. I have a video on how you guys could turn a NutriBullet into a vacuum blender for 20 bucks. Check the link down below. And of course, I also sell some of the higher end vacuum blenders and demonstrate them on my other YouTube channel. Link is down below also to that at youtube.com/rawfoods. I really encourage people to maximize their nutrition and get a vacuum blender. Once you taste the difference, you're like, wow, I can't believe how I've ever done that. I went to the Canada Fruit Fest and they had a blend tech, and I needed to blend some stuff. I blended the blend tech, and I'm drinking, and I'm like, how can I even drink this? I could almost not drink it because it wasn't vacuum blended, because I'm used to vacuum blending. The tastes are better. The textures are better. It stores longer. It's just so amazing. You have to experience it, right? So yeah, get a vacuum blender. Check my Raw Foods YouTube channel for a video upcoming on the carafe that you could buy for your Vitamix, so you can start to vacuum blend in that, so you actually don't have to buy a whole new blender. The other thing I would say is, use fermented foods to your advantage. It came out of nowhere. But I could take cabbage that's nice and hard, right? And then I ferment it for extra long. So my cabbage has been fermenting just because I'm kind of lazy for 6 months, 8 months, right? And over time, that stuff gets super soft and almost dissolves literally in your mouth, because it's all the bacteria that have been dissolving that in the ferment for you. Plus, they're going to give you some beneficial phytonutrients, right? So some of my ferments are super soft. I know some people like their sauerkraut crunchy, and soft sauerkraut, if it's fermented too long, is bad to them. No, it's still good. That's just a personal preference thing. Yeah, and most of the fermented foods I might just blend up in a recipe, in a salad dressing or a soup anyways. So yeah, use fermentation to your advantage to break down the hard fibers so that you could get better absorption from that. And the other thing is, of course, juicing. I'm a big advocate of juicing. It makes it easier for body to digest things. It removes some of the fiber. You know, it's keeping some of the fiber. It keeps a soluble fiber. In carrots, it's about half soluble fiber, half insoluble fiber. So even in carrot juice, you're getting half fiber. I had 24 ounces of carrot juice mixed with some other, beets and cactus pads today, and ginger and apples today, personally. And then the other thing I would say, besides a slow juicer, very important, get a slow juicer, not a fast juicer, so you're not oxidizing all those important phytonutrients, is get a food processor, right? I hope they come out with a vacuum food processor one of these days. But a food processor with an S blade will basically cut and chop and, make a smaller particle size than like a blender would, because blender really needs liquids in there. But a food processor, you could literally put a salad in there, just mash it up into like a, pesto, literally. You can make a pesto out of greens, out of anything. And so you really want to basically get that particle size down as much as possible to basically emulate what you would do if you were chewing. Of course, even the food processor runs at a wider, faster RPM than optimal. The other thing, I guess those are my tips that I would probably do. Use the appliances. I think vacuum blending, number 1, juicing, number 2, and food processor, number 3, probably the best ways to help you break down your food. And of course, don't forget about fermentation. That also will get your food soft over time that you may not have thought of. All right, so yeah, that's the end of today's Q&A. Actually, I gotta eat. Oakley's gotta eat. He's kind of hungry. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, everything I said in this episode is my personal opinions. If you do have a medical situation, please consult a doctor. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and if there were conditions that people had mentioned, I'm only explaining what I would do if I had that condition, not what you guys should do. All right. So if you guys enjoyed this Q&A, want me to do more Q&As in the future, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, be sure to share this video with somebody else that you guys might think would help. Make sure you click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I've come out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up. I'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click that bell. YouTube has been unchecking people's bells so they don't get notified of new videos. Maybe that's some kind of conspiracy. I don't really know. But just make sure that bell is checked for you guys. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes at this time. If you guys have questions for me, make sure you do a search on YouTube for all my videos. I try to keyword and tag them quite well. So if you search a topic, you're likely to find a video on it, because I've done videos on a lot of topics so far. All right. So with that, my name is John Kohler with okraw.com. We'll see you next time. And until then, remember, keeping your fresh fruits and vegetables, they're always the best.